Well, hello friends. Welcome to Farley Lake here in the Sawtooth Mountains. I wanted to share with you all of the gear that I have with me for this 4-day solo backpacking trip. But here in my Waymark Gear THRU 40-liter backpack is 38 pounds of gear, food, water, and camera supplies. That is at least the weight when I started the trip. Obviously, food weight has been consumed. All right, jumping into the big three items. One of the most important pieces of gear that you take with you is your tent. In my case, on this trip, I've got the Tarp Tent Dipole 1 Lithium, or Li, and I've been really happy with how this has performed so far because it's been super windy, had a little bit of rain, but also it's got a small footprint size. This campsite right here, it's in a pretty tight spot, and if I had a two-person size tent, I don't know that I'd be able to make it fit. Okay, so the Dipole is a single wall shelter, Dyneema composite fabric, and is very lightweight. It's also a trekking pole tent that has 2 doors, 2 vestibules, and it's just a great option for these mountain settings like this and for having a great amount of living space. I've been very, very pleased with the performance of this. Next on the big three is the sleep system, which this sleep system that I've got for this trip, chef's kiss. It is absolutely beautiful in its performance. Let's start with the pillow that I brought, and that is the Nemo Philo pillow. This is one of my favorite pieces of gear that I've ever used because it has been a game changer. I kid you not, in my sleep. This is so comfortable. I love the memory foam topper on it. It's fairly lightweight. It has the right height for side sleeping. This is just a quality piece of gear for sleeping. My sleeping bag for this trip is my baby, the Western Mountaineering Ultralight 20-degree bag. What I love about this bag and why it goes with me so much is the performance. It just works. Like, it always keeps me warm. It's comfortable to sleep in. It's not claustrophobic, even though it is a traditional mummy style bag. It's just a phenomenal sleeping experience, and I love it. And then last but absolutely not least for the sleep system is the sleeping pad that I am testing for this trip and very much enjoying, is the all new Tensor All Season from Nemo. This is unreleased at the current moment, but it will be available in October 2023. This is a 5.4 R value, regular wide pad that is such a nice upgrade from the previous generation Tensor. So far, my experience with this has been very positive. I sleep comfortable on my side. I sleep comfortable on my back. It has a slightly thicker material on it than the previous generation, which I genuinely feel like helps with the support that a pad is supposed to give you when you're sleeping. It's lightweight. In the regular wide, I measure at just shy of 20 ounces for the pad itself. But the all-season Tensor is chef's kiss again. I love it. It's so nice, and can't wait to share my full experience with this pad. Obviously, water filtration is a vital part of a backpacking trip, and I use the Sawyer Squeeze for my water filtration. I've also got this little coupler that you can get from Sawyer that allows me to very easily put together a gravity system with my Knock Vecto 2-liter water bag. This is all I carry in addition to my 2 1-liter water bottles, which are the Essentia bottles, and this does me just fine for a scenario like this where there is water all over the place. I'm able to collect water when I get to camp and then have all of that for treating and such when I get to camp. So really simple, basic, but effective system. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about apparel and clothing, my layering system, all that. What I've got on my person, on my body, let's start with my shoes. These are the Danner Trail 2650s, one of my favorite hiking shoes of all time. Super comfortable. They don't really give me blisters. I've got some sole insoles inside of them. They're just a great hiking shoe. If you've got narrow feet like I do, and you want just a little bit of a drop from heel to toe, then they're a great option. The socks that I'm wearing are the Swiftwick Flight XT Trails. They've become my favorite trail sock because They don't give me blisters. They have also lasted for a long time, and they have some really cool technology to them. Shorts that I'm wearing, these are the Outdoor Vitals Skyline Trail Shorts. Let me preface here for a second. We're gonna be going through a lot of Outdoor Vitals apparel here. This is not sponsored by Outdoor Vitals. I just genuinely love their apparel. Yes, pretty much all of my apparel on this trip is Outdoor Vitals gear, but it's stuff that I've also purchased myself with my own money, and I think that's important to say because I like it that much. Okay, Skyline UL Trail Shorts. I have enjoyed these more than the Sawtooth shorts for this trip. They've got a really nice fit. They don't have a belt that you need. They're just lightweight, super breathable, and they've been a fabulous option for staying chafe-free and everything on my trip this time. One of my favorite sun hoodies of all time, the Altitude hoodie. This is just a go-to piece of apparel that it just performs so well. And additionally, oh man, stuff everywhere. I've got the Altitude Performance tee, which I am using to sleep in and get out of this stinky, sweaty thing at the end of the day. So that is a nice option there. Speaking of sleeping, these are the all new, unreleased, I'm testing these to provide feedback to Outdoor Vitals, the Highline leggings that are a fleece legging, and so far, fantastic. Just really enjoy the comfort of them. The fit is great and they are lightweight. Got a pair of Sax underwear. These are 2-day-old underwear, so they're stinky and gross, but I always carry an extra pair of underwear when I head out into the backcountry, just in case crazy things happen. Second pair of Flight XT Swiftwick socks, and then my layering system. So my mid layer, this is my base layer, the Altitude hoodie. My mid layer is the Ventus hoodie, which is easily one of my favorite pieces of outerwear that I've ever owned. It just takes the chill off, it helps block the wind, it is great for hiking in, and at a price point that is really nice. And it's lightweight and balls up into a really small package. My thicker insulation is the Vario jacket, that's very similar to the Ventus, but this has more insulation to it. Fly with me, let's fly away. So this has, I think, 40 grams per square meter or something of insulation when the Ventus has 25. But this is full zip, it's got hand pockets. It's just a great, slightly heavier weight insulation piece. And then last but not least, my THRU rain jacket. When you come out into the mountains like this, you gotta have a rain jacket with you. Even if it's not like forecasted to rain, these mountain ranges can have crazy things happen. So always carry a rain jacket, and I've been very pleased with the performance of the THRU. So that's my apparel. Questions? Let me know down in the comments. All right, so my stove and cook system is something that's pretty simple. You guys have seen it many times here on the channel, but it's one of my favorite go-to long-standing pieces of gear. I've got a 100-gram canister, and I've got my Tox titanium 550 milliliter pot. This is one of my favorite pots of all time. Then for my stove, I'm rocking the Soto Amicus. Soto Amicus. I said that really fast. This is one of my favorite canister stoves of all time. It just works all the time. Never stops, unless you turn it off. And I've got a microfiber towel that I like to have in my cooking kit as well, because it helps with not burning your hands to grab hot handles of your pot, but also just for cleanup. And it makes it so that your stove and your mini Bic lighter doesn't rattle around inside of the titanium pot when you're walking down the trail. So that's nice. Then, ta-da! My infamous orange GSI cup. This thing has been on more backpacking trips than I think any other piece of gear that I own. This thing just goes everywhere, and I love it. Then for my food, I guess I'll show you guys my food. In my food bag, this is a DIY bag that I made for myself a long time ago at this point, but somebody asked on the channel, when I asked, do you guys want to see a gear loadout, we show the food that you take with you. So To be brief, I'll just show you some of the simple things. I try to find high-calorie, simple foods that don't require a lot of effort. So I've got some chicken creations. I've got tortillas that, notice that it's day 3. I'm going back to the car tomorrow, and how much food I still have with me. I just have not ate the amount of food that I thought I was going to. Got some peanut butter and jelly. I've got some Nutri-Grain or like fruit bars, oatmeal for breakfast, some cheese, and then for my dinners, all of my dinners have been Peak Refuel. So these are high calorie, high protein, and just my favorite meals for sure. So, whoa, Mr. Squirrel, you can't have any of this. I had set a dinner date, but I haven't cooked dinner yet. Go away. Okay, so I have chipmunks to manage. Okay, so that's my food in my stove kit and everything. So there you go. Then for electronic items, I've got quite a bit to cover. My first item is my iPhone 13 Pro, which I carry for navigation using ONX Backcountry. I also use it for photos and video and watching movies in my tent at night. For my satellite communication, I'm using the ZOLEO satellite communication device. This is perfect for two-way communication, for the medical assist feature that's now available, and just the option of SOS in emergency situations. I absolutely love the ZOLEO, fantastic. Then in this Sea to Summit dry bag, basically, is everything else that I carry for all of the electronics. This bag makes it possible to keep all of my stuff dry and clean. But I've got a 20,000 milliamp battery bank here. This is the Carbo 2000 from Nightcore. And then I've got the Flextail Gear Tiny Pump X2. Love that thing for pumping up my AirPad, and then also as a lantern in my tent at night. I've got several different charging cables in here for all of this stuff. My car keys. Got the Nightcore NU21. I think this is the less powerful version than the NU25. Taking it on this trip, have not even used it yet, but you always gotta have a headlamp with you, right? Then I've got my Govee Bluetooth thermometer. These things are like 15 bucks on Amazon. Amazing to have. Then I've got some camera stuff in here. What I've got is 2 extra batteries and a charging case for those batteries for my Sony a7C camera, and then my DJI microphone, my wireless microphone system, which is also a charging case, and then my Sony a7C with a Sony 20-70 f4 lens, and my tripod. So that's all of the electronics that I take on a backpacking trip. Okay, last category of items is kind of all of the luxury stuff and odds and ends that I put into my backpack. First is going to be my fishing gear. Got my Redington Crux 8'6" 4-weight fly pole with my Redington Rise reel, and then all of my fly fishing goodies in here. So this has all my fly boxes, all of my tippet and hemostats, clippers, all that stuff that I need to do my fishing. Next up would be my bear line. I've got 50 feet of line in here, as well as a carabiner that's been very handy to keep the chipmunks and squirrels and stuff out of my food on this trip. Super annoying. Then I've got something that I have found to be very enjoyable on this trip, and that is a pair of binoculars from the company Maven. These are the B.7 series compact, lightweight, 10 by 25 binoculars. So these are super handy and a huge luxury item for a lot of people, but when you've got these big mountain peaks and stuff, it's nice to be able to look out on the ridgelines and within the rocks and stuff and look at the marmots and the pikas and even the potential for bighorn sheep or some mountain goats. I don't know that those are here in these mountains, but you never know. So it's nice to have a pair of binoculars for that purpose. Then I've got some different bug repellent things, which I anticipated the bugs to be horrific on this trip, but they actually have not been bad at all. I've only put bug spray on once, and I carried with me this FlexTail Tiny Repel and this EMR 06 repellent device from Nitecore and from FlexTail. I haven't even used them. I haven't needed to use them. So these have been extra weight and bulk inside of my pack, but mosquitoes could have been really bad, and in that case, this would have been super nice to have. So I don't regret bringing these whatsoever. But I do also always bring in the summertime, because bugs are bad, my Sawyer bug repellent lotion. This stuff is amazing. Super effective for me. I know some people it doesn't work super well, but I love it. A few more small items. Always carry a knife with you. This is the Benchmade Mini Bug Out in the CF Elite. Kind of a knife nerd, but I always have a knife with me, and then good old medicated chapstick. And then lastly, you can't forget the chair. You gotta love the chair, right? Skyline UL chair from Big Agnes. I absolutely love this thing. It has come in clutch for enjoying some beautiful evenings here out in the Sawtooths. Well, I better get going because I've got a dinner date with the squirrels and the chipmunks, so I better get going.